Sorry. Oh man, that sucks. I lost everyone. It's okay. Happens. Happens to the best of us. Test. Okay, that's good. We're all good here. We're back. All right, I gotta let the YouTube viewers know that I'm on the other video now. You know, this is the most annoying part of YouTube streaming, is that it creates a whole new video. Which, you know, it's kind of silly that it does that. Right here, I'm gonna have to go to my own channel. Look for the people there. All right, it's somewhere in here. Just give me a second. We'll figure it out. Goodness. Can't believe I just crashed like that. All right, let's go over here. Whether people are still there or not. All right. Nope. The chat's gone, right? Yeah, there's no more chat. Okay, well, hopefully people figure it out and hops over. But here we are. It's okay. We'll manage. We'll manage. I lost everyone. Anyways. I guess I could make a Discord announcement here. Discord. Oh my gosh. Burning up. I better get that email real quick. Email from the apartment being like, hey, AC is fixed. You can live now. I really hope so. My goodness. I bet they're not even here yet. The people, contractor or whatnot. Let's see, one of these. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. Okay. Stream viewer. Oops, sorry, crashed. Still on Twitch now, and YouTube link changed. There you go. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, we're back here. Void claims first again. Nice. Good job. I guess I should launch everybody here. Too bad. I guess I should have asked Ma to... Oh, well, getting used to it. We're learning, we're learning. Whew. All right. We're doing what we can. We'll survive, we'll survive. It's okay. It's just a little minor problem. Low-key, I kind of want to like spin up the fan now. I want to see if the silent mode has been good because it's lower voltage. I wish I could up the fan speed without impacting the... Yeah, see? 88. Still high, but it's not as bad. Not as bad. I think we're good here. I think we're going to stay in silent mode for a little bit. Okay. Anyways, we're on the major point of interest here. But before that, I want to read 4.5 release. Pretty exciting. Let's see. Making dreams accessible. Some highlights here. From mind-blowing effects now made possible by stencil buffer. What is stencil buffer? We should probably look into this. You know what? I should do a video on like what these technical things are. How do we visually drill a hole in that wall? That's pretty cool. Whoa, look at that. In order to peep at the player on the other side. You can now do it with stencil buffers. Imagine an invisible sphere that surrounds our character. Even if geometry is now rendering itself on screen, we insert its shape into the stencil buffer. Then we make our wall shaders only render if the target pixel is not covered by the stencil. Interesting. It's kind of like masking, but 3D masking. And then we have screen reader support. Show, don't tell, but show tell. A feature often overlooked that is a must-have in computer software is screen reader support. Such readers are an essential tool for people who are, oh, it's like an accessibility thing. That's pretty cool. Okay, better support for screen reading. And we can turn it on. Okay. So other people can play our game. Down the rabbit hole, script, backtracing, and custom loggers. Script backtracing gives developer the exact detail on where an issue happened on code, even in release builds. Custom loggers allow developers to intercept log messages and errors. Okay, intercepting log messages is pretty cool. Internationalization live preview. Interesting. This new feature is key to our ideal of making game accessible. You know what? This is great. I was looking into making internationalization for my dialogue plugin. So now that this is easier and you can preview, I wonder it's now time to actually do it. Shader Baker. Anyone that plays modern games, especially on PC, has had experience of waiting for shader compilation. Usually it shows up in two forms. Yep. It runs on GPU. Okay, so shader optimization here on 2D Fusion. Chunk tile map physics. Oh, pretty cool. They're chunking the tile map physics. That'll help a lot with the collision snagging. If you remember, like when you have physics objects, sometimes it snags on the platform. Now, right now seems like the best time to make your platformer game. As deep as you wish. Duplicate at ease with expected result. Ooh, they fixed duplicate. Deep duplication. Okay, I had to manually do this. Now I can use this. Oh, it seems like 4.5 is pretty good. Build profile. I don't care about that right now. Mute game toggle. Okay, there's a mute game there. Cool. Drag and drop resources and scripts to preload UID instead of by path. I want to see it. Oh, hey, you can, you know what? Yes. So now you can load your resources as UID, unique ID. So the folder organization doesn't matter. That's good. We need to use that. Allow selecting multiple remote node at runtime. Not really sure what that means. I'm sure it's cool. On demand. That's pretty cool. Inspector. Toggleable inspector section. Ooh. Better clean up. Okay. Interesting. Execute editor scripts using the command palette. Well, any named editor script files in your project now appear in the command palette. Okay. Cool. Script color picker. Not everyone can read color, so we added a little color preview next to every color value. Okay. Paste as unique. Nice. That's a good option. Wow, a lot of features. Duplicate project straight from the project manager. Append signal source automatically. This will really help unbinding signals from their sources and make code reuse far easier. Oh, like a source as part of the argument? Okay, that's good. That's something that I usually implement manually by myself, so. The animation player has received some much needed love. You can use selection box to select the scale Bezier editor points. I never used the curve Bezier curve for animation before, so I don't know how useful this is. Looks pretty cool. DPI aware icons. Okay. Oh, yes. These icons are, ooh, look at that. Before, after, before, after. It's definitely sharper. I love that. GUI. Cascade content easily with foldable container. New foldable container node as an easy way to display a lot of details at the discretion of the user. Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Label stacked effect. Style labels as much as you want. What does that mean, though? What does it look like? I mean, we use a lot of labels. Oh. Ooh, you can stack styles? Like style on top of style? Oh, you can have multiple outline. Okay, that's pretty cool. Outline on top of outline. GUI no more. Handle complex GUI easily with recursive overrides. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Require qualifier. Okay. Nice. Oh, Windows. Web. Free performance boost. Ooh, performance boost. That's good. Straight from the source. GDScript. Introducing variadic argument. GDScript functions can now accept an arbitrary number of parameters. Oh, that's pretty cool. This ... numbers thing. It's good for, yeah, not having to construct the array before passing it in. And then abstract classes and methods. Nice. We have abstract classes now. Lovely. Import if it ain't broke. Input game pets galore. Okay, new driver navigation dedicated 2D navigation server. Okay, better navigation. Asynchronous. Frames grow on trees now. Okay. Rendering. Better, I guess. It has more ambient occlusion, it seems like. Specular occlusion from ambient light, yeah. Ever wonder why some objects would eerily shine as if they were lit in the occluded area where they shouldn't? For example, a common... Yeah, so it seems like they added ambient occlusion, or better. Yeah, better. So like the places where the light should be occluded is not occluded before. This is good. Better forward. A better move forward to looking better in 3D. That's great. This is anti-aliasing. Nice. Pretty cool. Definitely a must, I think. Must upgrade for those people who haven't upgraded yet. I'm not going to do that right now because obviously my system is struggling. So let's just finish this doc real quick. I want to make sure this volume is actually... I'm going to lower the volume here of the music. It's a little bit too loud for me. There you go. Okay, so major feeling, blah, blah, blah. We just did major point of interest where you can press on the little buttons. And players can further dive into different spots by clicking on the available locations. Nice. Nothing complicated here. Maybe the UI needs to go away though. Okay, once within the major location. So this is something that I wanted to mock up here. Because what I'm imagining, right? So I'll take this, copy. Can I not copy? Copy image. Well, let's see. Okay, once within the major... Okay. Once a spot within the major location is selected, a player-controlled a zoom in of the spot pops up for immersion and more exploration feel. When the spot point of interest is opened, you get a side profile pixel art location exploration option where you can move your character to interact with different things within the spot. Kind of like a platformer. So the idea, I think, what I'm trying to get at, I really wish I could just copy this image, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Can I even download this? I can't. It's really annoying. Image option. So just added, save to keep. Yeah, save to keep. No. Really, there's nothing else, huh? Well, wow, that you really can't copy images that you've already pasted in. It's kind of silly. I guess I'll just have to recap it. Hopefully it won't crash the stream again. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that we don't crash again. If it does, I think we're done here. But I have high hopes that it won't. All right. Hopefully this makes a lot of sense. What I mean by side profile pixel art, kind of like platformer look. I know it's a mouthful, but I don't know how else to explain it in words. So let's get that going. So we have the game, start the game. Whew, sweaty. Okay. So for example, okay, no crash. Nice. We're gonna have this. And what I'm imagining is something like this, where, for example, I could have how about, let's see, I can do this. I think I can copy and paste my little ship thing. So let's open this ship. One of these things. So for example, if I do one of these, right? Copy that. And paste these. Something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter, really, does it? And then I can clean this up, I guess. I don't know how I will clean it up, but you see what I'm trying to do here. And then add a little text that says, I don't know, the observation deck, for example. We should probably make this a little bit bigger. Something like that. And then have people be existent. Oops. There be people. Maybe even more zoomed in. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Horizontal. Like, does that make sense? I think so. Maybe it can be even more zoomed in, but we'll do mockup. We'll call this POI spot zoom in mockup. Then have this be right here. Oh, whoops. I'm gonna save it as. A little busy. I mean, I think we can clean this up a little bit, but that's the idea. Okay. Whatever idea we organize from here to the main dock should be removed after. There you go. Hey, Yusuf. Yusuf says, do you think about starting a 2D game project with cool and original fighting system or a supernatural adventure game or something like this? I would love to see you imagine this kind of project. I mean, sometimes. I mean, I have a lot of ideas. I'm not sure about fighting game just because I've never... Like, okay, I can think about like action game, like platformer action RPG and all those things. Or beat 'em up even. But like fighting game, like Tekken, those are hard to imagine because all the techs that are required to play things like Tekken, I'm not familiar with it. I'm not good at it. So I don't know how to imagine that. But when it comes to like supernatural, like adventure games and games with fighting system, I have a few ideas in the back of my mind. I have a kind of like slightly like action RPG or just RPG game in mind with a very interesting magic system. I was thinking, because part of the unlocking, I think it would have been cool. I mean, it kind of inspired from the little mage game that I was talking about. Yusuf says, no, not top like Tekken. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. But basically, it's like fighting game or action game, and there's world has magic, and the way the magic is casted or effect has like effects of the magic changes. It's still a rune collection. You're collecting, like you got to learn and transcribe the magic to make it your own, but they have different effects based on what the environment is. So environment is like called a ley line, right? The magic is the air, right? And depending on what kind of magic is in the air, your magic does different things. Different things, not drastically different, but just like effectively slightly different. So like managing those things are like part of the game. And then I thought this was cool. When you're expanding your skill tree, basically instead of the skill tree being like, oh, you have this, and then you upgrade, it's like you can use these two rooms to combine them to access these different type of abilities, different spells. And I was thinking like it's more like a table, like a lookup table, as opposed to a tree. I mean, I guess the graph works okay too, but I think that graph will be actually really hard to pay attention to, just because there's gonna be so many webs. Anyways, that could be a fun action game. I like turn-based game, and unfortunately I think I just like strategy games and board games so much that I just like turn-based game. I do play a lot of action games and I like playing them, but it feels weird making them myself, but maybe one day. Anyways, all right, so I think this part is basically done, right? There's a narrative aspect that we were talking about, I was talking about, which basically is there are few narrative interest, the unknown, or eldritch horror, undiscovered, species, civilization, low tech, more magic. So it's like magic sci-fi, and then undiscovered or monitors, higher tech civ, who is hidden. And then impending doom caused by the FTL tech, impending doom of the universe, FTL tech, which is being tech, and the solution to this problem is the main storyline. Okay, these are the 4 items that we need to think about, I think, narratively. And it could be fun. Okay, we gotta talk about stops, because that's where the execution and the gameplay comes through, I think. The inventory / upgrades. Okay, so this is narrative. I think inventory might still be part of the gameplay. Not really sure, but we'll see. Few things. Overall, taking inspiration from games like Hollow Knight. It is important to have non-linear upgrades. This means all upgrades, items, and etc. have a very unique effect in the world. Upgrades, items, and crew have very unique effect in the world. One consistent mechanic that can be changed, plus upgrades and crew that passively or actively changes the impact. The interaction with the world. I'm not really sure what that exactly means yet, but we'll figure that out. But that is the feeling I definitely want. Some spot exploration also have unlockable locations and narratives, which may give players the ability to access new spots. Major feeling I want. We want players to remember, players to realize, oh, I have this ability now. Maybe I can go ability / item. Now, maybe I can go access that thing I couldn't before. Yeah. One important thing here, exploration mode. 4 major point. Exploration is important. I think I want to make it so that major feeling we want. Some of the major locations should have direct access, teleportation, station option for fast travel. However, it shouldn't be everywhere. I'm gonna put this over here. Okay. Let's see. Derek Yu says, yo, what's this current project? New game in the making? Yes, I mean, kind of. This is an old game that I was working on before, and I am basically locking it down so that the design becomes more solid, because we do like this game, and I keep saying this. Out of the 4 games that I started, I do want to at least finish one of them, and this one I'm working with friends and team, so I definitely want to really finish it. So we want to have a booth next year and then have a wish listable / kind of demoable game by end of the year. This is called Dread on Arrival. Currently, okay, let's test a pitch here. Dirok, you. Let me read you this pitch and see if you can understand what this game is about. And you can immediately tell this game is for me or not, or gets excited or not. Okay, here it is. Explore the unknown space with your hand-built ship and crew in this retro-futuristic game. You navigate through hazards and events while managing the sanity of your crew. Are we truly alone here? That's the pitch. Does it give you the vibe of what the game is, you know? That's what I want to know. Like, I noticed that I didn't say anything about the gameplay. Kind of. But I think you could kind of still get it. I don't know if it feels not too non-actiony or not, but here we are. But yeah. Okay. So this is the game, by the way. So we've worked on this for a little bit. And then we had a gameplay, we had a paper mock-up. But now we are at a point where we're like, okay, I think we can finish it. And I was talking about how to finish out the game. You can kind of see here with my visual director. I keep saying it like that because I'm like, well, I mean, technically it's like all serious, but we're not that serious. Somebody who's doing the pixel art for us, my friend He's also involved in game design and stuff. So we were talking about it, and we had a lot of great ideas. So I am now thinking of finishing it up, like locking it down, so it feels good, and we know exactly what to do. All right. So game itself visually, I think, has a place for sure. Derek says, it sure does. Hand-built ship sounds most interesting to me. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Expand your ship. Upgrade your base. Does it have, and base engine? Like it's like buying a different model of a car and a make, and then modifying it, right? Because it's like, yeah, you can basically buy any car and then modify it and replace the engine or whatever. But there is a benefit to like different hull size and structures and construction and stuff like that. It'll be cool. I think it can be fun. So far, we're mocking up some of the things to make sure a lot of these things are locked in. First thing first, we are going to share this with my friend. I'll give editor here, copy link. Then I'll send Revy a message. Okay, worked on this design doc on stream today to lock down some ideas. I've also included rough mock-ups to generally communicate the idea. Hope this helps. Feel free to update with your visual things. You can add a whole visual section if you want to lock down on the feeling, palette, general guidance and rules as well. There you go. Cool. Maybe I could give it to the musician as well for style guide. But yeah, there it is. Okay. Something that we need to lock down, though, that we haven't talked about are the stops. So we said from point A to point B is a procedurally generated traveling in between, where every stop you take reveals a new spot within the fog of war. So you have a general idea of which direction you're going to in order to get to whatever you want. What do the gameplay of those stops look like? And that's before. Before it was just before a dialogue box based choose your own adventure type interaction to resolve the event with some consequences. This could be sufficient, but is there a more strategic part? You need. I want to feel like, or we want players to feel the effect of the ship's change, crew, or ship components, crew, and relics. I want players to feel the effect of the component, crew, and relics change within these events. This is essentially the combat of the game. loop cycle. So we need to figure out what that gameplay looks like. Now, I don't really want it to be just combat like FTL. There's something about that I just kind of feel like it's too tiring and it's too rapid because I still want people to pay attention to the story. But there is enough sufficient break in between that the intensity may, like, I want to be like, oh, I kind of want to avoid it, but then like when I go through it, it feels good. I'm definitely leaning towards turn-based because I want it to be tactical. You're a captain. You're not actually actively fighting things. The rush is rush of the brain as opposed to rush of the physicality. So if it is turn-based, let's do some what do you call? Ideating. Physically drawing or writing things helps me. I mean, this is a point where I usually draw on a notepad as opposed to digitally doing this, but I think this is important. I need to visually organize some of these things. All right. Maybe I don't use Paint though. Maybe I use my application. Okay. Oh, I really want this AC to come back. I'm dying, guys. I really need this. Man, it's crazy. This apartment needs to step up. Give me my AC right now, please. Okay. So we're thinking turn-based. We have crew. We have some ship stuff. Ship has base components that adds effects to the ship. Potentially items. Relic. Now, management of the crew. Let's ask a question here. Management of crew. Equip crew member? Is that too much? Is that too much or not? Maybe simplify. Something that we do like is if we look at Darkest Dungeon, both Darkest Dungeon, Darkest D. Darkest D. Okay, Darkest Dungeon, and I'm gonna spell this out actually. Darkest Dungeon, and what is it? Into the Breach has this aspect of like characters where they hold certain number of trinkets, right? Like a small number of trinkets. Item 1, item 2, item 3, and then maybe they can add more stuff to increase this. Or they have a character-specific upgrades, right? It's like, oh, this character can do this. Well, they had a mech. They had two concepts where they had a pilot and then the mech. That was the Into the Breach. And Darkest Dungeon had the class, which is its own thing. And class has a class upgrades. There's like two different components that you can mix and match because you feel like you can build this to make the class strong in its own way, and then you could add 2 or 3 trinkets. And I think this is a good formula. So I'm thinking we're going to take that as an inspiration. So on a ship, we definitely have different stations, right? We have stations, and stations can have their own upgrades. Stations being components, I think. So we have, in a ship, we have stations or components. And they can have their own effects. effect. And then the crew can have 2 trinkets. And then crew has their own class, right? Crew class will allow them to upgrade their own little effects. So there's 3 components. I hope this doesn't get too complicated though. So crew can hold any trinkets, and they also belong to a class. And then the class has some sort of tree. Though I don't know if I should be like, this is class-based, or if this is like, you have, for example, people are complicated creatures, right? So instead of being like, traditionally you have like classes, class 1, class 2, and they have their own skill tree, right? Whatever, like so. Class 2 has like different designs, whatever. Not this looking like people. Versus if we say person. So that this is like part of simplifying, where you have a dude and then there are 3 or 5 different components of a person. Like it's agility, whatever. But instead of it being a stat based stuff, it's more like this type of thing. And depending on who it is, they start from different spots. So that's like the class. Where class is not what the tree is. Class is where you start. In skill tree, where you start is the class. That way you know you can add things that you want to everyone. And then maybe there's like the little hub access. So for example, you could go, this is one spot. There's like a shortcuts. And then you can add shortcuts here. Or shortcuts to other major components. Like so. Could be pretty fun. Like that's something you unlock with Insanity. So part of the shortcuts, you can take shortcuts if you take Trauma. Trauma allows shortcuts. Ooh. Interesting. I do like that idea. Trauma allows shortcuts. Okay. I'm gonna have to write that down. Hold on real quick. Right over here, brain dump. Upgrades. We got idea from upgrades and items. Inspiration from Darkest Dungeon. Each member of the party belongs to a class, and they have class-specific upgrades and progression, plus hold trinkets. An effect of mix matching class and items allow for experimentation and satisfaction of combo. Inspiration from Into the Breach. Each pilot can control different mech. Mech has control a different mech. Mechs have their own ability and skills, while the pilots have their own as well. Mix and matching mech and pilot has the feel of combo and experimentation, which is important. All right. Similarly, for us, for Dread on arrival, station components of the ship can be the mech. Where they can have their own upgrades and effects on a person, crew, and each crew member can hold up to 2 trinkets for added customization. And class is represented by different starting location on the common skill tree. Class is represented by a different starting location. The skill tree. Oh my gosh. Why is it so laggy? Accessing far or unlocking shortcuts within this tree is done via receiving trauma or psychological, what do you call, psychosis, trauma or psychosis, aka psychosis. All right, cool. This is the idea for upgrades and items right now. Let's see, but why is this important? That's a good inspiration to have right now, but we still don't have the gameplay. All right, so let's make the gameplay of what this is. I mean, I do like the idea of it being just like just some sort of combat. Like, we don't have to really worry about this too much. Like the reality of what that means. Yeah, like, what does the combat look like? I like it. Should it be a ship combat, or should it be just generally managing ship, you know? Well, people will be running around, so they'll do their own thing. Do I want it so that people have to stay in a station? Like, it's in their best interest. Maybe that could be the effect. It's like, oh, if this crew member stays on a station for more than 4 turns, they receive it. If, like, they get a added benefit for being stationary or something like that. I guess that could be a thing. All right, so if we do turn-based, enemy, crew. And does the turn execution happen on the crew or on the ship? What about the ship turn? The ship only move because of the crew. I guess so. What are some things we can have? The goal. Run away. Chase, which is nature of navigation. And then we want to have destroy, pure combat. I don't know, destroy and survive I think has the same theme, right? How about there's the this has to do with the ship combat, I think. The status of the ship. I think there is a sense of survive like crew wise. Are you surviving? Like a ship surviving is different from crew surviving, right? And those two can be similarly interacted, but two different concepts. For example, we're not under attack. We might be under the influence of, you know, internal strife, stress. So maybe there's something there. So this is boarded. Hazards. Psychological. Maybe. I mean, we can all tie it together, but we also got to make sure this is fun and not too complicated. Okay. I mean, we can say jump, curse time, and charge, right? Which is escaping. Escape. Now, the one thing that I don't like about FTL is that a lot of the times escaping doesn't result in any benefit. Like, is there a reward? I guess that is reward? And should there be a reward? I think so. I think we don't have to narratively explain why you get credits for surviving, but I think every single event should every event have a reward? We're gonna have to think about that one. Not really sure. Navigating. Dodge. Maneuver. Am I spelling that right? I think we can tie this together somehow. I think to jump, you have to clear space, right? Does that mean we're going to put this on a board like this? Or we go spaceship 1, and then there's the hazard. You see something like that. Is this too much? If this is like tactics turn-based? And also, while doing this, how do we deal with the crew management of the ship? Like moving people around? Unless we just say, hey, this is it, basically. Like you have a spot here. And these are like the choices I need to make in order to go. And then on top, it shows you where you are. Maybe? And where the hazards are. Maybe the different icons. These spots could have icons of what they are. Is it too complicated? Potentially. It's like interaction within interaction within interaction. We went from major transport to micro transport. to even zoomed in view. So unless I go, I'm going to click to open up a ship view to control the, but then that's too many clicks. I don't think we want that. What if, what if we do it like Into the Breach? So we don't change the crew position. You have a ship on this like tactics field, but then the crews are already in their station, like different stations. Oh, maybe we can do it this way. So like going from one location to another is not like actually moving people around, but rather it's like the command that you give. Like it's like the action to the crew. So you can say, whoever's on, okay, yes. The action, all right. Oh my gosh, there's so many texts. Okay. Kind of, I kind of like this idea. It's getting a little tactics-like, potentially. But thing is, it is by nature a tactical thing. So let's see. Mikori says, what we learn, and we're not learning anything. I'm planning my game design for the what the events look like. So I think we're kind of deciding on this now. So what we got is we have different crew members. Right. And then you have this field, potentially. Launch point. Hazard field. And then you have the looters, maybe. For example. Station change. Station determines available action. Yep. And certain things require stationing, certain things don't require stationing. I think actions modified by, do we do crew stat? Crew stat? That's the question, I think. MaxPop says, hey, I'm developing a 2D MMORPG game like Maple Story. Would you recommend Unreal Engine for this project? I don't think so. You can really use anything, but you don't need to use Unreal Engine. Also, I'm getting a lot of feed / news on how the inefficiency of Unreal is really impacting the AAA game notoriety. Is getting a lot of bad news these days. you know what though? Like if that's something that you're used to, then it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, you should choose something that you can make something with. And it doesn't matter if it's Unreal or not. I actually don't believe you need to choose your engine before. Or based on the game. I think you should just choose something and make it work. Choose something that you can make stuff with. Because where there's a will, there's a way. I would say Godot is fine. If you're doing just Maple Story type of game. Game Maker's fine, but I don't recommend it. Unity is fine. Unreal is okay. I mean, I guess you get a little option to make little 3D stuff if you want, but seems like a little overkill. But yeah. All right. I think there's a potentially something interesting with this. So I'm going to crop this out. Save this as mockup under, let's see. OneDrive, documents, strawberry. We have mockups here. Some element will be, there it is. Call this combat event mockup. There it is. We'll have a spot. There's a spot and there's stops. Hopefully those are very distinctive. They're a little bit too similar. We might have to change the wording for that. Okay. Something like that. Like so. Inventory and upgrades. I'm gonna bring this over. Okay. And then we can really design exactly what those things are. Mm-hmm. We're going to probably make a section for combat. Gameplay would be more like exploration. Inventory on upgrades. We're going to have one that says combat and events. We'll put that there. This is where combat and events would trigger. And then we'll do a link here. Then copy that over here, mockup. There you go. So if I click it, it takes me to this section. I think this could be fun. I just need to make sure it doesn't deviate too much. Every event launch, there is a requirement like arriving at launch point. to jump away. Run. This means strategic navigation of the ship is important. So we are deciding to do a mini tactics like game. Crew actions within player's turn are actions taken by the crew. Yeah, says making an MMORPG does seem a way too ambitious unless you a triple A studio. I'm pretty sure the server cost alone will bankrupt you. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what kind of MMORPG has been really conflated to mean vast different things. But you know, if it's like, local multiplayer RPG or like small server hostable by individuals, and you provide a server script for people to launch their server themselves, and they're not all in a single server. Not everybody is in the single server type of situation. Maybe that's kind of like Rust, but would that be considered MMO? I don't think so. I guess it would be considered some other type of game genre, wouldn't it? But yeah, MMO is really always a problem. The kind of the cost to return, the return on investment is pretty grim when it comes to MMORPG, just because the amount of like tech and just pure resources that you need in order to make it happen. But you know, I don't know, depending on what you think these things take. All right. Actions within player's turn are actions taken by crew. Crew actions depend on what station components they are on. Stations. And different stations and its upgrades would allow different actions. BrainsUp says, genius, I'm getting the patent application. Patent application for what? You mean the MMORPG? That is not really MMORPG? I'm sure that already exists. I would be surprised if no company already has a patent for every single thing. Okay, let's break some stations, station actions, and default crew actions, or default crew action, crew actions, crew actions. Let's categorize these. Okay. Bold them this. Insert table. Let's see. Action name or station name, station actions, and what they do. Station action, detail. And then this one would be grovel is part of the action. Cower in fear. Crew action. I suppose it doesn't matter. Detail. For now, I'm just going to have detail here. Delete column. Okay. Hopefully. All right. Can have. I mean, by default, I think I was saying. Insert a row below. Change station. Okay, I guess I just gotta do insert row below. Station, for example, navigation. I wonder if you have multiple. I guess you could have multiple people within the station. I think I'm just gonna let it be whatever. Move. Moves the ship one space, or by ship speed. Moves the ship by ship speed. Up to. Moves the ship up to ship speed. Cool. Probably gonna add more stuff here in a bit. Power. I mean, routing makes no sense to me, but I think on, off, swaps, or reboot. Resets the power of the ship. For the ship to return back to full energy operation. Whatever that means. I do think that reroute might be an thing somebody needs to do. Change power routing selection to keep manage which stations are powered. I think that's probably important. This could be interesting. It really depends on how this is represented. Because it's like, how do we make it so that, so for example, if I'm a player that never played this game before, I come through and like, oh, how do I know? Like, I don't want to just like change station, not knowing what I can do there. So that's going to be a little bit complicated, but we'll see. Defense, I guess. Defense, or defense could be shield, I guess. Shield generator, shield gen. Place shield. It's going to consume power. Place a shield probably within the right, left, or bottom. So locationally important. Though I don't know if like Omni Shield is probably something we need to do or not. It consumes less, I guess. We'll see. There could be some extra effects or upgrades that allows us to do something interesting with there. Move, FTL, run if available. Right. This could be, let's see. I guess depending on the gun, I guess. Weapons. Fire, depending on what weapon we are. Different weapons. I guess it doesn't matter. Fire. And other additional effects that different weapons have. Potentially that can be changed by the upgrades, I guess. I mean, this is pretty straightforward what this means. Hall's gonna have its own control, which I guess it can be whatever. But what if you're getting boarded? What happens then? Maybe that's not something I deal with yet. We'll see. We'll see the potential of this game mode. Seems like I'm going to have to make this part first to see if I can test this, because this is going to be the bread and butter. Narrative, it's all about story writing. Items and all those things are only as important as how fun this part of the game is. So I definitely need to test this part of the game out, and definitely need to lock this part of the game out before being able to, what do you call, say anything about it. All right, I think that's good. We had a really good session here of brain dumping and writing some design docs here. My AC is still not back on, and it's getting really hot in this room, so I think I might have to stop here today. Okay, by the way, I think I'm going to redo the stream schedule from now on. So I know I was doing like every day during the week, except 1 or 2 days where I decide that I don't want to do anymore. I think I want to be more regular now. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to try it my best to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my time. So that means it gives me Tuesday and Thursdays to work on other things. So that instead of being like, hey, today I'm not going to work on it, today I'm going to be on here or not. So you can now expect me regularly. That's the little announcement. So yeah, let's raid out. Expect me in 2 days. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been fun. It's time to go. I'm burning up. Ooh, Adam is still alive. Anyways, we gotta go to Hypnotic. It's been a while, honestly. All right. Hippo, Hipponatic, Hipponato, Hip, Jern Jam. Oh yeah, that's right. They talked about their jam. I remember. Yeah, we're coming. We're coming. And we're going to hit post right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye. I'm burning up. It feels like a sauna here. See you later. Okay. And then